Hi people, it's me, Anja, my pronouns all she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. The first book on this list is called The Cuffing Game. This story is a YA contemporary following a bisexual main character who creates a reality TV show to get her crush's attention, but it's more like, I don't know, like a YouTube TV series, if that makes any sense, because from my understanding, she's like a college freshman or something. I don't know. Anyway, this book was kind of okay. I rated it 3 stars because the chemistry between the two main characters is mostly told rather than shown to us, which I didn't really like. And the plot and the characters kind of felt underdeveloped. And this book is technically marketed, not to me, but as a modern day Pride and Prejudice retelling. And I wish that I had taken note of that before I had read it, but for me, I think I was really paying more attention to the author's reputation, which really lowered my expectations because I think the last book I read by this author I also didn't really enjoy. I think the only book I really enjoyed by this author is her debut. But anyway, overall, I rated this book 3 stars because it felt really underdeveloped. So take that as you will. The next book on this list is called This Book Might Be About Zinnia. This story is a YA contemporary following a young biracial main character who's trying to find her birth mom, and it alternates between timelines between her and modern day and then her mother as a teenager. And I didn't enjoy this book as much as I was really expecting, just because honestly, I think I was expecting this book to remind me of Meet Me in Mumbai, which is a book with a very similar storyline that I read a few years ago. And also, I think I forgot that the previous books that I've read by this author, I didn't really enjoy. So basically, I rated this book 3 stars because I felt like, first of all, the pacing was off. So like some unnecessary lore drops felt very underdeveloped, and especially in the second half of the book, like, why is the mob involved? Why did that happen? The plot felt so weird in the second half and just so odd, and really made the characters feel like less like real people, if that makes any sense, and more one-dimensional. So the story itself was really lost. I don't know if any of that makes any sense. But basically, overall, I rated this book 3 stars. I was intrigued by the premise, but the execution fell flat. So take that as you will. The next book on this list is called The Lost Year. This story is a middle-grade historical fiction following one young boy in 2020 as his great-grandmother comes to live with him during the pandemic. And then he starts to unravel secrets about her history, particularly focusing on the Ukrainian famine of the 1930s. And I think this book was so good and so well done. First of all, I love historical fiction books that have alternating historical timelines. I think the timelines were paced so well. I really enjoyed all 3 of the characters really coming to life. Like, I like this book so much. I love the plot and the world building and the family dynamics and literally everything. This book is excellent and it's so good. I would definitely highly recommend it. I think this book is excellent and brilliant and so well done, and it's definitely one of the best historical fiction books that I've read this year. I'm not sure how many historical fiction books I've read this year though, because I think this year I wanted to read more historical fiction than I read last year, and I think last year I read 28 is what I said in my video. Anyway, overall, this book was really good, and I really liked it, and frankly, I just love learning about history that I didn't learn about in school, if that makes any sense. So I rated this book 4 stars, and I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called This Town is on Fire. This story is a YA contemporary following a Black main character after her white childhood best friend gets in trouble for allegedly being racist. I thought this book was so good and so fantastic. I had really low expectations for it because the last book I read by this author, historically, I think, wait, no, that's not correct. The first book that I read by this author, I didn't enjoy, and the second book I read by this author, I really enjoyed, so I was intrigued by this book. So with that said, this book definitely met my high expectations and exceeded them, and I really, really enjoyed everything that happened. I loved the characters, and I loved her relationship with her race. I think that that was really well done, especially how much she's grown up in like predominantly white spaces, given her childhood best friend relationship with the white girl and everything that happened and unraveled and everything. Like, I love the plot and the characters and her relationship with her parents and everything. This book is so good. At times, it can be hard to read, but as a Black person who also grew up in white spaces, I think that everything was done so well and just so good. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it because I rated this book 4 stars. The last book on this list, and definitely not the least, is called Leave It on the Track. This story is a YA contemporary following a sapphic main character who moves to a new town after both of her parents pass away, and she's currently living with her estranged older sister. I thought this book was so well done and so good. First of all, I love a story that really touches on queerness and grief and found family, especially surrounding a team sport. In this story, it's roller derby, and I've read many stories about roller derby in the past, and maybe I should make an entire video on it. I've never seen the Elliot Page movie, but I think that this sport is so interesting, even though I would never join because I don't really enjoy contact sports because I don't love physical touch and people like jamming into me. Anyway, I thought this book was so good and so fantastic. I loved the characters and the romance and the family dynamics and the plot and the story and everything. Like, it's so good and so fantastic. I think this book is so underrated and it's so awesome. So anyway, with that said, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. So in conclusion, I apologize for my book reviews in this video particularly seem a bit quick. It's because I'm under a time crunch, if I'm being completely honest with you. But anyway, overall, my November reading month has not been as fruitful as I've been expecting it to be. But, I don't know. It's like the end of the year, you know? Like, I have to start thinking about 2026. So I can't really complain about this for too long. And also, there is another month in the year. Like, I'm going to read tons of books in December, hopefully. So anyway, all that to say, I hope that you enjoy this video. I hope that these book recommendations truly, genuinely help you and help diversify your bookshelf. So in conclusion, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the bear emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!